Alright, so here we go. Now we're going to be setting up these charts here with your volume indicator. So in this particular, on this charts, we can just simply go up to here and click on indicators. Otherwise, if you are using any of your charting platforms, just look for the tab that has indicators or something that will say insert studies. You want to click on anything like that, and then it will give you a list of options. Okay, so let's fire this up. We have a whole bunch of indicators. I'm just going to search for volume, and I want only the standard generic one, okay, which is right here. I'm going to click on that. I've implemented it here, and let's look at the settings of this. Okay, so the volume is set to with the MA length for 20 bars. Okay, so basically this blue line that you're seeing, okay, let me click out of it. This blue line that you're seeing is basically the moving average, and it's set to 20 period. Now, some of you guys are gonna see it like in this format where it looks like, line, yeah, some of you guys might see it like that. Okay, well, you'll have a line just going across of it. And then some of you guys can set up the way I have it. Now, regarding your volume for growing and falling, you can keep it at green and red. Green for going up, red for keeping it going down. That is a personal preference. You can decide to keep it in any way that you can. But for me, I kept the settings at 20. And as far as the moving average, which is it's going to measure the average of the last 20 bars. Now, this is an important thing also, because when we're looking at volume, we want to monitor a few things, okay? We want to monitor how much of a volume increase happens, okay? Whether it's a spike or a collective of the entire area, but we also want to compare it to the average and seeing how big is it? How low is it compared to what the normal is? Okay, so if you're trading, for example, the 60 minutes, then doing the average of 20 to 24 seems to be good, because if you're looking at London today, you can compare it to London markets yesterday, and then you have an idea of, hey, the volume seems to be above average or below average. I just kept it at standard 20. I just visually look myself. Previously, I'm like, okay, how was it over there? How is it over there? And then I have an idea. Okay, we'll get into all the details of it later, but for now, it's just a matter of setting this up. Now, once you save your settings, however you want to do it, I'm going to move these back to my default ways. There we go. Then you have your chart set up. You want to make sure you do this for all of your charts and all of your time frames that you look at. So generally for us at Urban Forex, when we're dealing with the Mastering Price Action course or the the 4-course bundle, we're generally looking at 2 time frames. So this will apply to both time frames. It needs to be on both time frames with the same settings. Okay? All right. So now let's move on to the next video, because there is several things you need to keep track of when it comes to the big boys, and getting a volume on your charts is one of those things. Okay, now actually before we get into that, I want to also touch base on one more piece. The piece being is, wait a minute, what about volume in Forex? Okay, well, it's easy to see volume in equities. It's easy to see volume in the futures market. You know, cryptocurrencies will have a standard idea for volumes as well. But in the Forex market, due to no central exchange, the volume is not so reliable. Okay, I personally use the charts from FXCM, and I'm using the volumes on that. You can also use, for example, Oanda. Okay, if I click Euro USD here, you can see they have, you know, the ICE platform, Forex.com platform, FXCM platform, and then there's one from Oanda platform. The goal is to find an exchange that is as large as possible. So the idea might be, wait, if there is no central exchange, wouldn't my volume be different from one broker to the next broker? What if the volume is less reliable on another broker? I want you to understand one thing when it comes to the logical way of thinking. When a larger player is dealing with $20 billion plus in a trade, okay, just imagine that scenario. I'm not saying this is what happened. Imagine that scenario. If he needs to sell it off to the opposite party, let's say he's a buyer and now he needs to sell it off, okay, that $20 billion, one broker might not be able to support him with that much capital, okay? So he will reach out there as a bidding, as an auction market, and saying, I have $20 billion that I need to get of. And all of these brokers are going to jump in and says, I'll take it. I have a bunch of clients that are willing to buy at this price. So you can sell it to me. And each of these volume bars, they don't represent money, they represent tickets. How many tickets of buying and selling? It's like the transactions, okay? The number of transactions taking place. The more transactions are taking place, the more of an idea of, hey, there's a lot of activity going on here. There's a lot of exchange of business happening here, okay? So you want to understand it to that level, that even if you're using a different broker and the volume might be slightly different, it won't be much of a difference, because when the larger player needs to offset his trade, it will take from the entire market, okay? Unless, we're dealing with a broker that's not so, well-known name brand, or not big enough, and he's just a bucket shop broker. That's just like, if you hit a buy button, the trade never goes onto the market, man. That's not good. Okay, so we gotta be careful of that. But most larger brokers won't have an issue. So again, if you want to know what I'm using on TradingView, I use the FXCM charts. Okay, so yes, let's move on to the next video.